fancy intro music. Yeah! Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel where this video is coming out super late. Well, simple reasoning. Today's video is about 4 of 10, and it took me unlocking him, which kind of took most of the day. Because if y'all didn't notice, there was an Armada event as part of your Heart of Stonn. Now, did manage to complete this. I managed to get both events done. We did have to work with the dev team getting this fixed because, of course, the Doomsday hostile scoring just couldn't work right at the beginning. Because why would it? That would make too much sense for it to work exactly how it was designed to work. So had to get that fixed, and thankfully they did respond pretty quickly to that. That was fixed before most people even knew it was broken. Got that done, and then this one, the Armada one, that took me like all day. Like that was a heck of a grind, this one right here. So got it done, ran a few Armadas with the Alliance. Shout out to everybody who helped out on server 20, and through that was able to unlock this new officer, which we're out of spaces, by the way, Scope. I'm not sure if you know this, but we kind of got all the officers for that Borg section, but we still need our Borg Barrett. I mean, we got to finish it off. The OCD demands it. You know, say we've got 1 of 10. There's 2 of 10. There's 3. Now 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But there's no Borg Barrett. There's no space for him. What, are you going to make 11 of 10 and just like do an April Fool's joke? Please don't do that. Anyway, let's talk today about 4 of 10 as an officer. Now, really like him. Obviously, there's not too much to get too crazy with. I mean, the way he works is pretty apparent. Now, y'all are all familiar with how Stonn works, so here is the ore mining version with this one, and then of course the cargo optimization algorithm, so giving you another officer that increases cargo size. Now to give you all some stats in terms of the pure numbers of how he works, here we go with STFC.space, and while you're looking over that, I'm actually going to pull up regular Stonn so that you can see them side by side and get an idea of like, okay, how do they compare vice versa. So you can see at the very right over there at the very far side, the maximum of the commander level for this optimization. Now, here's why it's so good. I've switched to regular Stonn here in the background. So if we just do a quick little swap over, look at regular Stonn maxing out at 40%. This is a max Stonn. So I've already maxed him out. You can see commander right there. And then the ore mining rate by 40%. So you can see that the Borg version of this officer is obviously better from the very beginning, where you're getting the now 60%, sorry, I had to kind of squint there, 60% improvement when it comes to the optimization algorithm, and then getting a captain's maneuver, which is much better as well. Here, let me just swap this over to the other side so it's easier to see. Bam! Look at the power of the internet. Isn't that fun? So right here, you can see a comparison that you're getting better synergy. The synergy officers are also really nice, where you can then get 100% bonus with this officer, where with the original, which most people will probably use for raiding, but still for ore mining, it's nice to have a better version. And depending on how well you did, free to play did source this one pretty well. We'll have more talk about that in tomorrow's dev Q&A, which shout out to the dev team. They got our answers to us. And just to go ahead and let y'all know, there's actually more answers in the upcoming dev Q&A than normal. Like they actually didn't just kind of work around questions. We actually got some specifics, which is nice. It's nice. It's refreshing. Refreshing. So here you go with that. Now, also the officer ability, just to point it out, Pack Rat, increasing cargo size for max is 40%. Well, as we said, that you're kind of getting bigger and better there from the very beginning. So I like that. I think that the utility here is apparent for just about everybody, where not only can he help you from the mining aspect, for me, really been pushing to make raiding more of a thing in the game. We've got PvP officers coming out with Honor Guard, Wharf, and now we've got to me, a raiding officer. The amount that you can get from cargo, I mean, at tier 1, this is now equal to my max Stonn. Love that. The stats are pretty nicely built between health and attack, which is going to make him very useful for any ship below decks, and potentially even useful when it comes to away teams. If you look at the traits, assimilated, which this is what all Borg share, but then analytical and specialist, both of these getting used on several different away teams, potentially becoming an officer that people focus on. Now, I haven't had a chance to try to compare mission to mission. I don't think he maxes out any mission that I'm aware of, mainly because he's assimilated, and none of the assimilateds tend to do that except for the one Borg mission that you have for away teams. But overall, very good officer with some good abilities to maybe make a secondary officer that you start working on. But if nothing else, stat-wise, because we talk about stacking health first and then attack second to get your officer bonus maxed out, he matches up pretty well with those stats. And then just having him as a raider, because now you can have 2 ships where you're then getting a better cargo size. So let's actually take this out. And you see I've got my discovery here, but what we're going to do is we're going to swap this with our cavort. So my tier 6 cavort sitting right now as it is has a cargo capacity of right at 1 million. We will exit out just so you can see the specifics. It is 1.75 million. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put on regular Stonn and then Borg Stonn so you can see the growth in the actual number. So we're going to put Borg Stonn or regular Stonn on there, which is a 40%. And then here you go. We are now at 2.3, so 600,000 gain. Logic would say that we're going to get another one of those exactly the same way when we put Borg Stonn on there. So let's do that. We're going to sort by name, and where is our 4 of 10? And we're going to put this right there. Confirm. So now we have both versions of Stonns on. So then we went from 1.7 to 2.3, and here we are at 2.99, right at 3 million. So I've essentially doubled, right at doubled, not wholly doubled, but right at doubled my cargo size for this one ship. Now making a 3 million per pull hull, which is really, really nice for rating, especially as we are getting so low, at least I am, on dilithium and titanium from all these events that are having a spin to unlock these officers. It's nice to have this to then go out and raid. Now some of you are probably saying, well, either I don't raid or it's hard to raid on my server since territory capture or it's hard to find the resources I need. Look, I play on several different servers, and you always find a way. You know, if you can. If you don't want to do that, that's completely fine. You can find ways to get the resources you need without that. I definitely am going to push people to then, of course, go that direction because I feel like that's the most advantageous to get the 3 prime resources of Parsteel, dilithium, and titanium is through raiding. And you see with a tier 6 cavort, which is not that much crystal thrown into it, I'm now hitting right at 3 million cargo that I can bring home. And that's just with those. That doesn't count having any other officers that would increase those officer abilities. So, or have a similar officer ability, because now we're starting to get more of those, and hopefully that translates into getting more opportunity for players to take advantage. And this is just one application, obviously. Now you can then, of course, use a combination of, say, if I wanted to use 10 of 10 here. Now I've got synergy, plus 30% synergy with the mining. So then you see my efficient ores at 90%, as you would have guessed by if you watched or you looked at the math sheet that we put out before for what a base level Stonn does, or a base level Borg Stonn does, and a max level does. Here's essentially a 90% increase for the mining speed. And then of course that's also going to get you combined with the fact that we've got 10 of 10's ability as well. So all of this making a much faster miner, to where now we have a secondary crew and we could still throw on another protected cargo officer, because we have several of those now, where you could say run Joaquin. And then, so let's look at the main miner that I'm using right now with Barrett on it to currently mine crystal. I've got Barrett, regular to bring, Borg to bring. So that means I still have a protected cargo officer in DuPont free. So I could then throw it on a second miner. That one addition of Borg Stonn really does help magnify not only the mining game, but also the raiding game as a whole. So it's awesome that this is a free-to-play addition, because this is going to make it to where it's easier for you to go do those activities, whether it's raiding or mining. I don't really love on mining a great deal because, well, unless we get more bonus refineries, which thank you, Scopely, for getting 2 bonus refineries in the past 4 months. Thank you so much for listening to me and everybody else in the community. Greatly appreciate it. But until we can start getting those more consistently, you know, I am not a miner, and yet here I am with 3 million crystal. Let's pull a 75 and get 21 uncommon. Whew, if only a content creator could make a video about that. 3.1 gas. Let's pull 75 and get 30 uncommon, and just whoop-de-freaking-do. Let's pull 12,000 ore and get 7 and 4. If only a content creator could make a video about these loot tables and how blah they are. But either way, loot tables and frustrations aside, this is obviously an improvement to the game, especially since most players should be able to have gotten this for free. And this isn't even the end of the officer sourcing for this officer. If by the end of the duality arc, everybody doesn't have 4 of 10, I will be very, very surprised, or they just chose to purposely not go after them, which is also fine if you're not really big on the raiding aspect or the mining aspect. But still, I think it is a good officer, not only because it's an epic, because it was easy to source, and just from a stat standpoint, can really help up your game. Sorry, it took so long to get this video out. I had to get the officer first, and that's a pain because we all got to grind together. If you enjoyed the officer and if you're curious about it and you have any questions about how things work, down in the comment section below, I want to hear from you. Share this out with your friends, your family, and anybody who could learn a little bit about Star Trek Fleet Command today. Live long and prosper. Stay safe with those Space Cowboys. I will catch you on the next Rev Deuce video, which will be tomorrow, the Dev Q&A video, where they answer some of your questions. At least some of them.
Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!